My quick and easy Niger tomato stew with a twist. Listen so you know what the twist is. Welcome to my channel. I have tomatoes in the blender and some spices. You will see the list on the screen. And then olive oil, already cooked chicken, and some goat meat. Usually when I boil meat, I keep some just to make sure I always have meat and stock at hand. Yeah, so I'm adding all the spices that I listed here into the blender. I also have ginger and garlic and Maggi cubes, which I peeled and added to the blender. How are you doing today? If you're new to my channel, I'd like to say welcome. My name is Chi Chuka Ipere, and I'm really glad to have you here with me. Yeah, don't get carried away by my son who is doing his chores. He's helping out with the dishes. Thank you, Chi boy. And usually I started making this stew because it was already late. We just finished having dinner and I discovered that we did not have any stew for making lunch for tomorrow. So I had to quickly cook this stew so that those packing lunch will have stew for rice for lunch tomorrow. Yeah, so this is a chicken. Yeah, I'm gonna pour the chicken into the pot first. I will also pour the goat meat. Okay, now I pour the tomatoes. The tomatoes go in, blended tomatoes with all the other spices, with onion, garlic, and ginger. Alright, the hack actually is that I don't fry my tomatoes separately. I only fry the puree tomatoes, the tin tomatoes. So in this one, I just blended my tomatoes. If I had bell peppers too, I would blend them and add them with the meat. Usually sometimes when I didn't already cook my chicken, I would just put my raw meat in the pot with the tomatoes and all the spices. That way they sip into the meat. They act as the juice that will cook the meat. The tomato will be the juice cooking the meat. Yeah, one day I tried this method and my kids loved it. I was too tired to cook, but I needed to have cooked food. Okay, this is the goat meat with the shaki. Usually I use this to cook soup, but man, all of them have to go into this stew. And I don't want to cook small quantity stew that would finish tomorrow. So I'm really going to make a huge quantity that would fill up this pot, man. Yeah. The reason being my kids that cook, like that one behind me, my kid that is behind me, he is a stew expert. But lately he's been too busy, and my daughter too is really busy. They're hardly home. They come home very tired. Yeah, don't ignore that salt I put in. It's not too much, okay? It's not too much. The reason being the stew is going to fill up that pot. Watch out. You see how big it is already. By the time we add the rest of the things that I'll put in, you will almost have like a whole full pot of stew, okay? Then I cover it to cook. Then I clear out all the spices I have here. You see my olive oil is at the extreme. Yep. Now you see my hack. My hack is the mixed vegetable. This mixed vegetable, usually I use a whole pack, but I already made a meal with half the pack, so I just have very little. So usually, if I was preparing to cook this meal, when I cook, okay. Yeah, so I just went to blend them. You see the blended one? It's right here. So now I'm going to grab I'm putting away the spices right now. Then I'll grab the tinned tomatoes, the pureed tomatoes, okay? Yep. So I'm putting away those spices so you can, you have some space on this table. Okay, I have my trash by that side. So sometimes you see me throwing things there. I'm not throwing dirt on the floor, okay? I'm putting them in the trash can. All right, so I chop up my onion, half an onion. This onion is for charring the stew. You know how we do char. However, my mother-in-law does not like char stew. So nowadays I try to convince her that I will not let the oil boil before I throw it in. Yep. So, but yep, I do char. I don't. She says it. We're of two philosophies. Okay, she is no meat, no fries, health enthusiast. But I'm a keto person, and keto says meat, oil, vegetables. So usually at some point I had to be making her stew differently. And also it's because of her that I started cooking stew this way, just to, calm her mind that I didn't char the stew, because regularly I would char both the tomatoes and the pureed tomatoes. But this time I just boil. She wants me to boil everything so that the stew will be boiled stew, not fried stew. All right, we're coming back to the pot. In this pot, the tomatoes are still cooking, but I'm going to, fry the pureed tomatoes. So I'm using the entire bottle of olive oil. You won't even see it in the stew. It will all be like consumed in that stew, okay? Yeah, I have a big family. However, my first generation kids are fast growing. The last of the first generation is in high school now. So I'm dreading when they leave home. Right now they are all home. I need to enjoy them now, because the moment they move out, it's over. It is over for them. However, I have my second generation kids. My first generation, we brought them with us from Nigeria, but I had kids, then I now had American babies. Okay? Okay, this is not a keto meal. Remember, I'm not making only keto. I have other members of my family who are not doing keto. They are so lucky. My husband's side, my husband eats everything and nothing affects his weight. He's up practically the same weight since we got married 22 years ago. So his body is good with digesting everything. So, and I don't want them to keto either. If their body is nice without keto, then so be it, unless they choose to. Okay? Yeah. So I put the pureed tomatoes. I actually have to scoop them out of the tin so that I don't keep struggling here. because getting those things out of those tiny tins is hard for me. I struggle when I do that, so I have to do it separately. Yep. So I'm going to fry those ones. Remember that I put all my spices in the stew in the covered pot. So in the skillet is only olive oil, onion, and pureed tomatoes. In the covered pot, I have chicken, goat meat, shaki, spices, pepper, habanero pepper, garlic, thyme, all the spices that I listed initially on this video. You can scroll back, you can go back and see them. I can't mention all of them. So ginger and garlic are things that I didn't write there, and the pepper, the habanero pepper, salt. But every other spices that I put in is there. So yeah, that's my stew. I have to dry this pureed tomatoes so that that raw taste will go out of it. And how do I know when it is dry enough? The oil will be red and settles on top of the tomatoes. So when you fry it, I also, this is a trick I learned. I don't know, I don't remember if somebody taught me that, but all of a sudden I started cooking with wooden spoon. I discovered that if you use them, okay, first of all these coated frying pans, when you use metal spoons in them, they tend to scrape out the coat. So I started using wooden spoon. Initially I used plastic spoon, but plastic spoon, when you use them to cook, the food will still burn. But if you use wooden spoon, it doesn't burn as much. So I started using wooden spoon to stir my food, and then scoop out with any other regular spoon. Okay, so yeah, what am I going to do next with this my food? When I am satisfied with the how much I have fried this, what I do is that I pour the rest of it in the bigger pot. Hey my people, this is not keto. I didn't say that this is a keto meal because of the quantity of tomatoes, okay? But if you look at it, olive oil is part of keto. I would eat this too if I reach my desired weight, because I have cheat days in keto. Once in a while, like we go to Igbo church once a month, and they feed us better party jollof. That once a month I will open mouth and eat that party jollof to my satisfaction. Monday I continue keto and nothing will happen. I don't know, that was me when I was doing it. Why? I didn't want my body to forget how to process carbs. The body has a way of behaving. It gets desensitized of things that we don't offer it. So because keto makes you in a way to starve your body of carbs, anything you do and you ever bring in carbs again, it will start seeing it as a new thing, and then it takes time again for it to get used to it. So for that reason, once in a while I still indulge in carbs, but not every time. I don't indulge in it in such a way that my body gets out of ketosis. So it has a name. I think it's called carb cycling. I'm thinking, correct me in the comments below, okay, if I'm wrong. So I'm calling it carb cycling, once a week or whenever I want. But when I eat that carbs, I just eat it one day and go back to my keto the next day. Okay? Yeah, I'm not fighting with carbs, so I respect people that digest carbs very well. They are so lucky. All right? Actually, I'm not sure I'm that bad with carbs. The thing is that once I start to eat it, I think I overeat it, and I don't want that overeating of carbs. So I'm doing an all or nothing. Now I've opened the pot. By now, the tomatoes itself has also cooked well with the meat inside the pot. Assuming that I did not boil this meat, how do I know when the tomato in the pot is done? When my meat is done, I assume that the tomato has boiled enough because it takes a while for this hard hen we buy from African stores to cook. So, however long it takes for me to, you know, to get cooked chicken or cooked goat meat, and they are soft enough to the point that I like them, then I just assume that the tomato must have, you know, cooked enough. Now the next step is to pour everything in the skillet into the pot. However, remember the mixed vegetables. Did I even pour that one in? All right, I'm supposed to have poured that mixed vegetable into that pot. Now I don't remember, This is a voiceover. Oh, my bay leaves. I should have put this way with the rest of the things. Yep, bay leaves. Well, again, let me say something. Bay leaves in this place, I discovered that different brands taste differently. McCormick has really nice bay leaves. I like how theirs taste. But then this one I just put now, I don't want to say where I got it, just not so I don't spoil somebody's market. It doesn't taste as strong as, like, I don't notice the flavor of this one. This one, to me, when I smell the leaf, it smells like melina leaves. Can you remember melina? Enugu, 042 people. All those melina that full GRA Enugu. Yes, that's how whether not dogoyaro or what, I don't know how this bay leaf is smelling though. But because I use my money to buy it, I must eat it though. What's my own? Yeah, however, I should have put that bay leaf earlier so that everything will seep in very, very well. But however, whenever it goes in, it goes in. It will not even affect the taste of the stew. The stew will still be tasty. For me, the taste in this stew, one thing that enhances this my style of stew is the mixed vegetable. All those carrots, peas, corn. Yeah, when you blend those things, man, they will just add to the taste too. Now see what I'm doing. I carry the skillet, pour into that big pot. Yep. Stew done, no. Stir the whole thing and let it sit there for a little bit, and stew is ready. And man, once I turn off this light, I'm walking away. Whoever gets to clean the kitchen today will help to scoop the stew into small containers. I am tired though. It's time for me to go and sleep. Yeah, I'm so lucky. I have people who help me. My children have grown, and I've also paid my dues. There was a time it was me doing everything, up to turning on the switch. Just so, let me encourage all the people struggling with raising little kids right now. Give them 5 years is what I say. I know it's tiring and wearing out, but let me tell you, if your first is 6 years, by the time 5 years passes, they enter another phase of life. There is no rest for parenting. There is no rest.